New England Patriots, day 2 of mandatory training camp. We broke down everything that happened in day 1 yesterday, just like we are going to keep you guys covered for everything that involves the New England Patriots training camp. Today, we're switching it up a little bit. Usually, we drop pre-recorded videos, but I thought to myself, I want to interact more with Pats Nation. I want you guys to be able to interact with me, interact with the chat, interact with Patriots fans a little bit more. So today we are kicking it live stream style. I've also been thinking about doing something a little bit new here that we've never done with training camp before. And that is, and let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below in the live chat right now. What do you guys think if we went live every single day for training camp, during training camp, live from the studio, and we reacted to like live play-by-play with you guys? Every piece of news that comes in live, we're going to break it down, react to it together. Press conferences, we're going to listen to it live together. Videos, we're going to watch it live together in real time as they come in, instead of waiting for practice to wrap up and then go over everything. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. But like I said, yesterday, we broke down day 1 of training camp. Today, we are going to break down everything that happened in day 2, look at a couple of videos, look at some quotes that we got here from the media. We got a lot to pack in. Shout out to everybody who is in the chat. Shout out to my boy Gerard. Shout out to Ashton. Shout out to my boy Ray. Shout out to Jared in the chat. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Old Man Mob. Appreciate the Pats Nation family for showing out. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and let's start breaking down camp. So guys that were either absent or not participating is Matt Collins. Now, this is something that we have seen, look, all off season long. Nothing has changed. And to me, I don't really understand why exactly Matt Collins is not on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list, because you can get added to that list at any time. You can be removed at any time. This isn't like the IR list in the regular season where if a guy is placed on IR, they have to miss at minimum 4 weeks. No, this is training camp. If a guy is placed on the PUP list, you can remove him the following day. So for me, not exactly sure why Matt Collins, if he wasn't a participant in spring practices, if he wasn't a participant yesterday, and he's not a participant here today, I'm not exactly sure why the team does not just place him on the PUP list. Maybe they think that Matt Collins is day by day, and when he gets to practice, they're going over things with him and seeing if he can practice that day. That is my best guess. But if Matt Collins continues to be a non-participant, then why not just put him on the PUP list? Now, I will say there's a lot of controversy going around about Matt Collins. A lot of Patriots fans are like, I don't like this guy. He needs to be off the roster. Why are we wasting our times? Matt Collins is a veteran who has been in Josh McDaniels' system. In 2022 with the Raiders, Matt Collins had one of his best statistical seasons. Matt Collins has a true role. Matt Collins, although he's not participating, is there with the wide receiver group, with these young receivers, teaching them, giving them mental reps, and just being a mentor. I mean, Pop Douglas and a lot of these other receivers have given Stephon Diggs, but also Matt Collins, a lot of praise. So although Matt Collins isn't physically on the field practicing, he is still serving a purpose and making his mark on this team. Now, you also have Jalen Polk also not participating. Now, yesterday, I told you guys that from what was reported, he was just absent and not there. Now, we heard a little bit later that was a correction, that Jalen Polk was at practice yesterday, but he was not participating. Same thing here today. He's there, he's at practice, but he's on the separate field, which is considered the rehab field, the field that the fans can't see. So there's 2 different fields. If you've ever been at training camp, there's the field that's closest to the fans. That's usually where the team practices. And then there is a field farther down, which the fans cannot see on the other end. And that's usually where the guys rehab who are coming back from injuries and anything like that. That's where Matt Collins and Jalen Polk have been. My thoughts here on Jalen Polk are the same as they were with Matt Collins. If Matt Collins is not going to practice, why not put him on the PUP list? If Jalen Polk is not going to practice, why not put him on the PUP list? This is probably one of the biggest questions amongst Patriots media right now, and nobody has a true answer. I hope that at some point somebody asks Mike Vrabel, why are these guys not on the PUP list if they're not practicing? But again, the best thing that I can conclude here is that it's the same thing with Jalen Polk as it is Matt Collins. They're taking it day by day, and they're just hoping that sooner rather than later, he's able to get back to practice. But especially for Jalen Polk, especially for Jalen Polk. Like, he's got to get on the field, right? Like, I don't think Javon Baker makes this roster, but at least Javon Baker is on the field. You hear nothing about him, but at least Javon Baker's on the field. Jalen Polk not being there, not being able to work in this brand new offense, the Josh McDaniels offense that he's never worked under, being able to build that chemistry with Drake Maye, that is going to hinder him. So needs to get back on the field if he is going to make this final roster. Now, Austin Hooper also still coming back from that injury. Vidarian Lowe, Javari Ritzy, and then Carlton Davis and Josh Minkins also were absent or not participating. Now, we heard the day before day one of training camp, so Tuesday, we heard that Carlton Davis was expected to be a full go for day one of camp despite starting on the NFI list, and that was the case. A day later, it sounds like he's not participating. So whatever non-football injury he is dealing with, it sounds like it is still bothering him a little bit. Carlton Davis is a guy that has dealt with so many injuries throughout his career. He's the type of guy where, he's going to play at least 10 to 12 games for you every single year, but he's not going to play an entire season for you. So it doesn't surprise me that this guy's already dealing with injury. You just hope that because he's a veteran, right, because he has some familiarity within this system, right, Terrell Williams with the Detroit Lions last year, Carlton Davis with the Detroit Lions last year. And so they kind of have a little bit of a crossover, a little bit of familiarity. You hope that they're maybe just easing Carlton Davis into things a little bit and saying, hey, we're going to take it easy, we're going to take it slow, and we're going to give you a little bit of veteran rest. Now, as for guys that returned, no one. Guys that were limited today, so not full participants. Morgan Moses is one of them. Now, this one doesn't surprise me. I don't think Morgan Moses is dealing with an injury, but Morgan Moses is 34 years old. He's another guy who probably is not going to play an entire season for you. Given his age, he does get banged up from time to time. I think that this is just veteran rest. The Patriots have done this with a lot of veterans in the past. They did it with Devin McCourty at the end of his career. They did it with David Andrews towards the end of his career. And I think they're just doing that same thing for Morgan Moses. He is going to play such a pivotal role on and off the field for the Patriots in 2025 that I think you just want to make sure that he's healthy. You don't gas the guy out before week one even comes along. But then you also had Christian Barmore limited. And this one to me stood out a little bit more. Now, it doesn't sound like it's anything serious. He didn't get carted off the field. He didn't walk off the field. Nothing happened. But just given the fact that Christian Barmore missed all of 2024 with blood clots, a serious health condition, when he either isn't there or he's a limited participant, you start to take things away from that a little bit. But one thing that I will say, I'll actually share this with you guys. I was going to wait till we got to the defense, but I guess it's a little relevant to what we're talking about now, so I can just show you. But according to Mark Daniels, he said that Christian Barmore dropped his weight down. He's currently playing at 305. He said that he played at 325 2 years ago. So even when Christian Barmore balled out in 2023, he was playing at 325. Christian Barmore said he cut down because of, the blood clots and all the different things. He's trying to get healthier, but he said that by cutting down, he's also playing faster. So it's going to be really interesting. We've never seen Christian Barmore play this light. How does this affect him? Does it affect him positively? Does it affect him negatively? When a guy cuts this type of weight down, given the type of playing style of Christian Barmore, my worry is this going to affect him in any way, shape, or form when it comes to run defense, right? I think by cutting this weight, him being more fast, elusive, that's going to help him from a pass rush standpoint. But the questions for Barmore never came from pass rush. The questions for Barmore came in his ability to stop the run. And in 2023, that's where he developed. That's where he became an all-around interior D lineman. And that's why he got a contract worth $25 million a year. So again, not hitting the panic button, but I'll be curious to see how does this affect him in run defense, slimming down there to 305. But again, this could be the team just based off of how Christian Barmore, went through the 2024 season, given his health condition. Maybe him being a limited participant is simply just, again, making sure that we do right by him, right by his health, and we just take it easy on him. And then a couple more things that we want to get in here before we get into each individual position. Again, a non-padded practice. Said this to you guys yesterday. I'll reiterate it one more time, that it is expected that pads will go on Monday. Okay, guys? Monday is going to be the day that we get those true takeaways. Monday is going to be the day where it's like, all right, O-line, D-line, how's it looking? Those true one-on-one matchups, that's where we get our first real look at these guys, our true first football look at these guys. But at least as for today, no pads. Shout out to my boy Trey, who comes in here with a $2 donation, says floor and ceiling record prediction. So I don't have my exact record prediction yet, but I feel that the floor for the Patriots is 8. All right. I feel like the floor has to be 7 to 8 wins for this team. They have the second easiest schedule according to strength of the schedule. Maybe not, well, not second easiest, but they have one of the easiest schedules, a top 10 easiest schedule compared to what they've had the last 2 years, which is the hardest or the second hardest schedule in the NFL. Mike Vrabel constantly saying, right? He said this, reiterated it again just the other day, saying that they want to take advantage of bad football teams. The Patriots play a lot of bad football teams. Okay. They play the Miami Dolphins twice. They play the Jets twice. They play the Giants, they play the Saints, right? Those are just to name a few bad teams that they play. So when I look at the Patriots, 7 to 8 wins should be easy, just if they take advantage of bad football. Now, if everything goes right, Drake Maye hits his ceiling, Stephon Diggs is a 1,000-yard receiver, everybody stays healthy, the Patriots should reach double digits, right? Like the Patriots could easily get up to 10, maybe even 11 wins. Am I saying that's what's going to happen? No, I'm not saying they're going to get 10 to 11 wins. But if you're telling me ceiling, everything goes right, everything is perfect, yeah, they should win like 11 games. But I think they'll win ultimately somewhere between that 7 to 10 mark. But you guys, my way too early record prediction will be coming out soon. So you guys just wait for that. But shout out to my boy Trey for the $2 donation. You guys know Super Chats always get priority, and they do support the channel significantly. But continuing on here, just a very windy day at practice, so we got to see how the weather kind of affected the passing game a little bit. And despite it being a bit more of a windy practice, it did not affect Drake Maye at all. You guys see the title, Patriots Training Camp Day 2 Recap. Drake Maye has a perfect practice, okay? And while maybe it wasn't perfect, Drake Maye was just about as near damn perfect as you could possibly get. And when you put the fact on there that there was wind that was messing with the passing game also a little bit, makes it even more impressive with how Drake Maye performed. So today in 11 on 11s, Drake Maye went 14 for 15. He backed up what he did in practice yesterday when he went 8 for 9 in 11 on 11s. Drake Maye, through 2 days of 11 on 11s, has only had 2 passes that were not completed. Joshua Dobbs goes 9 for 12, a bounce-back day after what we saw yesterday, not even completing 50% of his passes and an interception. And then Ben Woolridge also had a pretty damn good day, too, here, 4 for 5. Definitely making a case to maybe be the third quarterback on the roster, or at the very least, definitely make the practice squad and stick around here in New England. Now, overall, today had a very strong emphasis on the short, quick passing game. They really didn't test anything down the field, right? And for Drake Maye, a lot of his problems, a lot of those turnovers came when he was testing the ball deep down the field. We know that Drake Maye also likes to test the ball deep down the field, but given the fact that based off reports, Drake Maye would have been sacked 4 times yesterday, it makes sense on why they're trying to get this quick, intermediate passing game going. Because, yeah, I'm sure they want the splash plays. I'm sure Drake Maye wants to test the ball down the field. But if you don't have an offensive line that can keep you upright to get those plays deep down the field, doesn't matter. And so if this offensive line is going to struggle, especially early on, one of the best ways that they can prevent turnovers and one of the best ways that they can prevent sacks, Drake Maye getting pressured and just getting the ball out quickly, is by working in that short to intermediate passing game, those quick passes, something that Josh McDaniels is infamous for. Now, Drake Maye also had 1 botch snap today with Jared Wilson at center. We heard that Jared Wilson, the rookie center there, he's working both at center and at guard, mainly working at guard with the second team offensive line. With the first team offensive line, he's repping in at starting center at times behind Garrett Bradbury. Now, to me, I wasn't there. I can't say this for certain, but based off of what I'm hearing, based off of what I would also assume, I would probably put that more on Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson is still, working through becoming a center. He only had 1 true year of starting at center at the collegiate level this past season in 2024. So if I had to put the bot snap on someone, I'd put it on Jared Wilson and not Drake Maye. And then Ben Woolridge, like I said, another good solid day, looking confident, but limited reps, right? At some point, I would like to see what would Ben Woolridge look like with a little bit more of an uptick in reps. And I think he's definitely a guy that we are hoping we get to at least have a slight look at in the preseason. Moving on to the running backs today, Antonio Gibson with 2 drops. I'm not freaking out about it. I'm not trying to make this a narrative, but there are some discussions on could the Patriots potentially trade away Antonio Gibson? And right now, when you have Trevion Henderson as that pass-catching running back, Ramondre Stevenson as kind of your first and second down back, where exactly will Antonio Gibson fit in? And as a former wide receiver converted to running back when the Commanders drafted him, he's going to need to be a guy that is more of a short-handed receiver. 2 drops in one day, not exactly the best look for him. But Ramondre Stevenson seen consistent involvement in the quick passing game today. That's another thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about that could potentially keep somebody like Antonio Gibson on the outside looking in. Now, I do have Gibson on my final roster, and we will have a way too early 53-man roster dropping for you guys shortly. But a lot of people forget that Ramondre Stevenson, he's not a LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount simply ran the ball and that was it. Ramondre Stevenson can catch the ball and he's very underrated at doing so. So again, when you have Ramondre Stevenson who can run the ball and catch the ball, you have Trevion Henderson who can run the ball and catch the ball. If Antonio Gibson is going to stick around, he's going to have to prove that he can play on special teams, but also that he can be consistent within the passing game. Overall, an overactive practice today for Trevion Henderson. He got into the mix quite a bit, more specifically as a pass-catching back. Moving on here to these wide receivers drops today. You had Kyle Williams with 1 and Jeremiah Webb with 1. Sounds like Kyle Williams came back down to earth a little bit compared to what we saw yesterday, but that doesn't mean he had a bad practice. Demario Douglas was heavily involved today, having a lot of short catches. Diggs also had a multiple different catches also. It sounds like those have been the 2 guys that are most consistently getting the bulk of production in this offense. Whether it's been in spring practices, whether it's 2 days of training camp, the guys that are getting most involved, Stephon Diggs and Pop Douglas, stock up on both of those guys. And what I'm really excited to see is we've always seen Demario Douglas used as an intermediate to deep threat because he's quick, because he's fast, right? But we never really see Pop Douglas utilized in the short passing game. This is a guy that if you give him a 5-10 yard pass, he has that speed. He has that quickness. He has the shifty moves to be able to turn that 5-10 yard pass into 15, 20, 25 yards easily. So getting Pop Douglas more involved in the short passing game, I think will go a long way for this team. One thing I will say, I never understood the discussions on, maybe Pop Douglas isn't actually a roster lock. Anybody telling you in Boston media, in sports media, that Pop Douglas is not a lock to make this roster, it's BS. Okay? It's absolute BS. Pop Douglas is a lock to make this roster. Stephon Diggs is a lock to make this roster. Kyle Williams is a lock to make this roster. Those are the 3 receivers I would say currently are absolute locks. Now, speaking of Pop Douglas, he had a great high-pointed catch over Marcellus Dial on the sideline. Ball came from Joshua Dobbs. And then Efton Chisholm had a long catch today. Also, what was considered the catch of the day, finding a soft zone spot in the middle of the field on a ball from Josh Dobbs. Thank you, Efton Chisholm, for rejoining the damn chat. My God, I feel like I haven't heard Efton Chisholm's name in a very, very long time. Balled out in OTAs, got a little bit quieter in minicamp, nothing yesterday, and then makes the catch of the day today. He needs to continue to string days like this together. He needs to have days like this more specifically when the pads go on and in the preseason. Because Efton Chisholm, he's quieted down a little bit. And it doesn't matter what you once did. It doesn't matter what you did in the beginning of training camp. It doesn't matter what you did in spring practices. What matters is what you do when it matters most. Football is what have you done for me lately? And Efton Chisholm will need to pop off in mid to late August in order to make this roster. In fact, I think we actually have a couple of clips here. If I go to my Twitter, which, by the way, make sure you guys follow the other social medias, not just YouTube. We're producing a lot of content on Twitter, on really everything. Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow those. But we do have, in fact, I think this is the exact video of Pop Douglas holding up over Marcellus Dial. So I want to share that here with you guys. Shout out to the Patriots for the clip. Obviously, I was not there today, so this is not from me. But this is the video of Pop Douglas high pointing that ball over Marcellus Dial. For a guy that's, 5'8" and Pop Douglas, this man's got some absolute hops. Let's take a look at that video one more time. Looks like he just runs a simple out route there and just high points that ball over Marcellus Dial. Now, Marcellus Dial, who's not necessarily the tallest guy either, but this play is like a little bit reminiscent. Do you guys remember the Tennessee Titans game where it's in overtime and Drake Maye fires a ball deep down the field for the Patriots to win the game and has Pop Douglas open, but overshoots him a little bit because Pop Douglas is just a little bit too small. But if Pop Douglas can make plays like that where he's high pointing, you know, he can make up for some of those high passes that Drake Maye is ultimately going to throw. So nonetheless, Pop Douglas has been active. And honestly, Pop Douglas has probably been the most active receiver for the Patriots so far this. Stock up, baby. Stock up for Pop Douglas. But let's go ahead. Let's continue on here. Moving on here to the tight ends. But before we do that, we got a super chat, baby. We got a super chat from my boy Richie Fresh. A big $5 donation. My boy Richie Fresh. You guys know we get a super chat, we stop everything we're doing because super chats always get priority. He says, Colby, my boy, keep up the great work, bro. Just want to drop in and show some love. Richie Fresh, man, you are the reason that I respect Bills fans the most out of all teams other than the Patriots in the AFC East, man. Richie Fresh, my guy. Appreciate the love. My guy from the AFC East roundtable right there. But getting in here to the tight ends, really not too much. You had Hunter Henry ball out yesterday. Austin Hooper isn't there. I think that the tight ends are going to play a big, big part in this offense in 2025. But one of the bigger questions about this team is tight end 3. Josh McDaniels always keeps a third tight end. Who's going to be that guy? Because they have a lot of different kinds of tight ends. You know, they got guys who are just blockers. They got guys who are well-rounded. Then they have guys who are just receiving threats. What is Josh McDaniels going to want? Does he want the extra blocker? Does he want the well-rounded guy? Does he want the guy who's the best receiving threat? You ask me, Josh McDaniels always wants the guy that's the best blocker, but that competition is wide open. But G. Scott today caught a nice ball down the seam on a counter action with Jack Gibbons in coverage. So far, no one is in the lead for tight end 3. Doesn't matter what you hear, okay? Nobody is truly in the lead for tight end 3. Because every other practice, it seems like a different guy is like making the play of the day. There's been no guy working in at tight end 3 that has been the most consistent. You got G. Scott making a play. You got CJ Dupree making a play. You got Jaheim Bell making a play. So right now, still wide open. Moving on here to the offensive line, Jared Wilson, the rookie center, continued to see reps as the first team center. So look, that was another question for this team. Going into training camp, Garrett Bradbury's working in at center all of OTAs, all of minicamp. But Jared Wilson also wasn't practicing. Now that training camp is here, it looks like they're giving Jared Wilson a real opportunity to win this center job. Now, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Maybe they're just trying to get a look at Jared Wilson. Just because Jared Wilson is seeing reps as the first team center doesn't mean that they're immediately making this transition away from Garrett Bradbury. But what this tells me is that if the rookie center proves that he is the better all-around center than Garrett Bradbury, they will roll with the younger guy. This team has no problem rolling with the younger guys, the younger draft picks, giving those guys opportunities to develop as long as they show that they are not a liability. So right now, I still think that Garrett Bradbury has the leadway as starting center. Like if the season started tomorrow, I think Garrett Bradbury is the center. But as long as he stays healthy, this is a true battle between Garrett Bradbury and Jared Wilson for starting center come week 1. My boy Richie Fresh comes in here with another $5 donation. Okay, Richie. All right. You killing the game, bro. You killing the game. You supporting me. You're supporting me. Says, shoot, I forgot YouTube takes a percentage. Here's another 5. Oh, shoot. We need an air horn for Rich real quick. Everybody give it up. Everybody give it up for Rich real quick, man. That is a good Bills fan right there. Shout out to my boy Richie coming in here, showing love, supporting us here at Patriots Global. Quite literally could not do this without your guys' support. So thank you so much, whether you're a Patriots fan, Bills fan, no matter who you're supporting. The fact that you're here supporting me, that's all I care about. So shout out to Richie Fresh. Hey, we got DTN coming here saying, Richie, what a generous man. DTN could not have said it better myself. But moving on here to the rest of the offensive line, Demontre Jacobs stepped in for some first-team reps at right tackle. Now, Morgan Moses was a limited participant, so this makes a ton of sense, right? If he's going to step out, somebody has to step in. And from what we've heard today and yesterday, Demontre Jacobs is this team's priority backup right tackle. I want to show you guys something, okay? I want to, real quick, I want to show you guys something. This is our backup right tackle. And I wonder if you guys have the same issue with this as I do. Okay? This is our backup right tackle. A guy who put up a 30.82 overall grade, which ranked 137th out of 140 tackles. A pass blocking grade of 42.7 that ranked 123rd out of 140 tackles. And a run blocking grade of 41.9, which ranked 137th out of 140 tackles. Had 11 penalties and 9 sacks allowed. That is your backup tackle. Your backup right tackle, I should say. If Morgan Moses goes down, Demontre Jacobs is the guy. This is the guy that is stepping in for you to protect Drake Maye. Your worst offensive lineman last year by far, and one of the worst offensive linemen in the league by far. I understand keeping him around for continuity purposes, but Demontre Jacobs is a practice squatter. This is not a guy that deserves a 53-man roster spot, and by golly, this better not be the guy that is the backup right tackle to protect my young damn franchise quarterback in Drake Maye. Hell no. Hell no. Give me Caden Wallace, okay? He might be young. We might be repping him in at left guard, but there ain't no damn way that Caden Wallace is worse than this. Again, I understand for continuity purposes, but my God, at some point, you just need talent. I could show up to Patriots training camp every single day. That's continuity for you. Are you telling me that I'm going to be the backup quarterback behind Drake Maye? No, because I don't got the talent to be able to do that. And neither does Demontre Jacobs. I'm sorry, but this is something that I just possibly cannot understand. Is that, yes, we improved at starting tackle, but this isn't even backup worthy. This guy better not make the final roster. Like, he's probably going to, because I don't know who's going to back him up, but yeah, my God, this guy better not be the backup. Anyway, moving on, Layden Robinson had a false start today. Not a good look for a guy that's been working with the third-team offense. And then the third-team offensive line. We didn't hear what the first and second-team O-line was, but we heard what the third-team offensive line was. So third-team O-line was Durant at left tackle, Robinson at left guard, Brown at center, Layden Robinson at right guard, and then Conley over at right tackle. So that's what your third-team offensive line is looking like. Sounds like they're just having, at this point, that third-team offensive line just sounds like it's a bunch of guys who can play at any position that they're just kind of throwing out there, right? Like, you know, Brown, yeah, he's a center, but Layden Robinson could play at right guard or left guard. Durant could play guard or tackle. Conley can play all over the offensive line. So at this point, I think they're just trying to get looks and reps for those guys. But moving on here to the defense, sacks today, you have Harold Landry with 1 and Braden Swinson with another 1. Guys, the Braden Swinson era is freaking here, baby. The Braden Swinson era is here, right? Edge rusher out of LSU, rookie that the Patriots got in the 5th round, a projected 2nd round pick, right? PFF, so many other sources had this guy as a top 50 prospect. Patriots got him in the 5th round. This guy's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. And let me tell you, I said early on, if Braden Swinson pops out, does K'Lavon Chaisson still make this roster? And I still believe that. Now, I do think that K'Lavon Chaisson is still going to make the roster right now. But if Braden Swinson really pops off, there might be a road in which Chaisson just doesn't ultimately make this roster. Yesterday, Braden Swinson with the sack. Today, Braden Swinson with the sack. Again, is it that Braden Swinson is a baller? Did we find something here? Or is the O-line just that bad? Right? Maybe a mix of both. Maybe a mix of both. This isn't the true test for Braden Swinson. The true test is when pads go on. The true test is in joint practices and the preseason. But you guys heard it here first. Braden Swinson, edge rusher out of LSU, rookie, a guy to watch on this defensive line. And then you also had Jeremiah Farms with a pass breakup today on that D-line. The interior defensive line forced a lot of pressure today, and Milton Williams was the leader of that pack in that defensive line. Exactly what they're paying him to do, right? Spring practices, Milton Williams is only going like 80, 90% on his sprints. Mike Ribble calls him out in front of everybody and says, no, we paid you $26 million a year. That is the highest paid contract to anybody in franchise history here in New England, not named Tom Brady. You're here to set a tone, do better. And Milton Williams said he loved that. Milton Williams is the leader on that defensive line for the Patriots. He showed it here today. And right now that defensive line is doing exactly what we want and what we are expecting them to do. And that is that the bulk of that pass rush, the bread and butter, the meat of this New England Patriots D-line, the pass rush, is going to come from the interior. And that's exactly what we're seeing so far. Now, Jeremiah Farms mostly stepped in for the reps that Christian Barmore missed, but Kyrie's Tonga, the offseason free agent addition, former Arizona Cardinal, also got some reps in. Now, Kyrie's Tonga, I think he makes this roster. He's the only true nose tackle the Patriots have on this roster. But again, when you had Christian Barmore step out, when the duo was not Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, the number one guy that stepped in was Jeremiah Farms. So something to watch there. Linebackers today, Marte Mapu, we all know he's officially working in as a linebacker, no longer as a safety. He had a sack today. And then as for cornerbacks, pass breakups, you had Alex Austin with 1. You had Marcellus Dial seeing the most work at outside cornerback with Carlton Davis being absent. Alex Austin also mixed in. Don't like that. Okay, I'm going to be completely forward with you guys. Carlton Davis isn't going to play a full season. He's another guy, like I mentioned earlier, who he's dealt with so many injuries. He'll play 10 to 12 games at least, but he won't play a full season for you. We're going to need a good backup outside corner, and Jonathan Jones isn't here anymore. So you're going to need a proven guy to be able to take over. Let's keep in mind, and I'm all for guys developing, but Marcellus Dial was the lowest graded cornerback in the preseason last year. He struggled big time. I think if anybody's going to play outside cornerback and be the depth guy there behind Barmore, or not behind Barmore, but behind Carlton Davis and Gonzo, that guy should be Alex Austin. Marcellus Dial is smaller. Alex Austin has a little bit of height to him. He has experience playing outside cornerback. So I'm just saying, personally, I prefer Alex Austin working as outside cornerback, but I'm sure they're just giving both of those guys some reps. Nothing here about the safeties, but for the first time in training camp, we have a little bit of an update here from special teams. As for field goal attempts today, the team was attempting field goals from 30 to 50 yards. Andy Borgales goes 3 for 4. He missed from 50 yards, but John Parker Romo goes a perfect 4 for 4. So John Parker Romo gets a little bit closer there to Andy Borgales, but Andy Borgales, from what we've seen as an offseason as a whole, the rookie 6th-round pick out of Miami is definitely still winning. And then Javon Baker is also getting work on special teams, right? If Javon Baker is going to have any possibility at making this final roster, it is going to have to come with working on special teams, where he's going to be a gunner. He's going to be a returner, and that's where he makes the roster and develops as a wide receiver behind that. But from what we're hearing, he's continuing to get work on special teams. Early in practice, he was catching passes with the other wide receivers. So, again, I don't have Javon Baker making this final roster. But, again, if he can be a special teams ace, that's how he's going to get on this roster. I don't see a world in which Baker at this point, based off of what happened last year, based off of what already happened in spring practices, based off of how quiet he's been, I just don't see a world in which he makes the final roster purely based off of what he does as a receiver. But again, if he can do something on special teams, that becomes a little bit more of a different discussion. Now, that's it for today's recap. I do want to show a couple of other things before we log off here for the day. A couple more videos. Let me pull it up real quick. So obviously, again, I want to say these clips aren't mine. Okay. Again, I wasn't there. But speaking of Javon Baker, make sure I quiet this and resume this. But speaking, I forgot to share this with you guys. There we go. We are actually still sharing that one. We want to share Twitter. There we go. But speaking of Javon Baker, and shout out to CLNS for these videos, right? Because The Patriots changed this a couple years ago where fans can't take videos anymore. Like, you get screamed at if you get caught. I understand why, but it sucks. So the media is the only one. The official media is the only one that's allowed to get videos. But you can see here, Mike Vrabel just working there with Javon Baker, right? And the great thing about Mike Vrabel is that Mike Vrabel is the type of head coach where he said this before when he was originally hired by the Patriots, that he understands that certain players need to be coached certain ways. Some players need to be coached as a hard ass, and then some players need to be more gentle with, and you need to work with them. Have your hand on their back, shoulder cry on, if you will. And I think that's how you have to teach Javon Baker. Like, call him out when he needs to be, but like, hey, that was a damn good rep. Like, you just keep pushing through. You're doing well. So, you at least see that Mike Vrabel is not giving up on Javon Baker. And then there was a couple of other videos that I wanted to share here with you guys. Now, spoke a little bit earlier about the rookie running back Travion Henderson. Now, he's been really active in the passing game today. This is just a little clip by CLNS that you can see of Drake Maye, just against air, not really going up against anyone, just getting a little bit loose, but Drake Maye is going deep down the field there to Travion Henderson. This is the exact role that we expect to see Travion Henderson in, as that pass catching back, as a guy that said himself that, Travion Henderson's watching a lot of James White film. But another cool thing that I want to share with you guys, and I actually want to share this audio with you, is the Jabril Peppers saying after practice, basically just fooling around with Mike Vrabel. And it's a good video to show you guys just how the vibes are high in New England and how Mike Vrabel might be a hard ass, and he's going to give some hard ass real coaching, but he's also going to connect with these players. And he's going to have fun with these players a little bit. And I thought what Jabril Peppers said here was an excellent example of that.
I keep telling him take that 5 off. He's not tough enough, but he told me to go check in on the Patriots Hall of Fame. So it's nothing I can say to come back from that.
So you just got Jabril Peppers chirping a little bit there at Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel's like, "Oh yeah, why don't you go check out that Patriots Hall of Fame real quick, and let me know if you see your name in there, because mine sure as hell is." And then, like we said, Efton Chisholm finally got into the mix a little bit more today, and we got clips of him working team drills. No big catch. We didn't get a video of the catch of the day, but wide receiver drills. You just see that quickness. You see that elusiveness. You see that footwork. You just see that short immediate quickness that, the Patriots have always had. Those white little slot small guys always work well in Josh McDaniels' offense. So again, I do still think Efton Chisholm is on the outside looking in, but that role has always flourished here in New England. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's recap. Day 2 of New England Patriots mandatory training camp. What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' takeaways? We got a lot more content coming out for you guys. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter over at Patriots Global 2. You guys see all my handles are right down here, posting more Patriots content that you guys don't get here on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok too at Patriots Global. I am posting multiple forms of daily content, Patriots related and NFL related in general. So make sure you guys check me out over on there. Check out the Instagram too. I will catch you guys tomorrow for a recap of day 3 of Patriots training camp. And we got some other good videos right around the bend too. We got a Terry McLaurin related video coming out for you guys. We have a way too early 53-man roster prediction video right around the bend for you guys too. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news so that you get notified every single time we post. If you're watching on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, and make sure if you are watching on Twitter, hit that link in the bio to come take you over to YouTube and subscribe here, because if you are watching on Twitter, you only get notified when I go live. You don't get notified when I post a video or a short or any of that. So there's a lot of content that you guys are missing out on. But until next time, I appreciate you guys for watching, kicking it with me, supporting. Make sure to leave a big like on the video on your way out. Supports the channel tremendously. But until next time, baby, go Pats.